Well, turning now to a 6 on Your Side investigation tonight. Families near a slaughterhouse in Bean Station are using bottled water after their well water was contaminated by coliform and E. coli.
The Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation saying the cause of that contamination was actually the failure of a septic system from a nearby rendering plant. WATV 6 on Your Side investigator Don Dare was first informed of this potential contamination 2 months ago. Now it has been confirmed.
Clean water is important to all of us, but two potentially dangerous strains of bacteria, coliform and E. coli, were found in well water along Helton and Lakeshore roads not far from Southeastern Provision in Bean Station. Coliform bacteria appears naturally in the intestines of animals and humans. However, these organisms are not naturally present in groundwater. But when well water test results showed conclusively these harmful organisms were present at 2 churches and 5 homes, the Department of Environment and Conservation took quick action.
They actually brought me...
Dean Taylor is one of the people in Bean Station to receive bottled water from the state on March 2nd. He was told not to drink water that came from his well. It was potentially contaminated and could make him sick. He was given bottled water to use for cooking, washing food, and brushing his teeth.
The State Department yesterday came out and actually took a sample from this spigot here.
Several days after the water was dropped off, a state resources officer took samples from Dean's outdoor spigot, which comes directly from his well. Mr. Taylor was given this letter from the Department of Environment and Conservation, TDEC. It says there had been a failure of the septic system at Southeastern Provision, a slaughterhouse not far from Dean's home.
It said that there's been a catastrophic water contamination from the slaughterhouse above the road here.
Results of water tests taken from 7 wells along Helton and Lakeshore roads indicate positive for coliform and E. coli. E. coli can make you pretty sick.
Yes, E. coli, this is a different type of E. coli. It's an intestinal E. coli, but it is an indicator of pathogens that are found in animal waste or human waste.
Michael Atchley is with TDEC's Division of Water Resources. We talked by FaceTime. He was made aware of E. coli contamination at Bobby Hipsher's home in February. Mr. Hipsher lives less than half a mile from the packing house. As a result, water resource inspectors checked the septic system at Southeastern Provision.
All the water was ponding and surfacing. It was not going into the ground.
The contaminated water had flowed downhill to Dean Taylor's home and others. The state's order to Southeastern Provision was swift: shut down its underground wastewater system.
At this time, they are shut off all flow to their subsurface system, and they're hauling all their waste off-site to a treatment facility.
That well's about 350 foot deep.
It was Bobby Hipsher who first alerted us in late January to a problem with his well water.
We just got to where we couldn't use it. Just rotten water, really, you know. Had a real bad smell about it. Smelled a lot like cow manure, I guess you'd say.
Cow manure?
I guess so.
Mr. Hipsher shut down his well. He now gets water from Bean Station Utility.
This was taken from the spigot here in the kitchen.
Water samples from Bobby's faucet and well were tested by a private company. The results were examined by his county health inspector.
He said there was 2,400 E. coli in it.
Unsafe.
That's what he told me. Yeah, not to use it.
Not to use the water?
Not to use it. Not to use it for consumption or to bathe in, I believe is what he said.
Bobby Hipsher's home is across the road from Dean Taylor's place. State inspectors have been called to the slaughterhouse several times in the last few years.
We have had issues with compliance at this site.
In January, we recorded a bloody discharge, apparent slaughterhouse waste pouring from pipes into a holding tank outside one of the buildings. According to state records we obtained, TDEC cited Southeastern Provision for gross pollution and unlawful discharge in January 2012. 6 years ago, inspectors found discharge flowing near a holding tank, noting the holding tank was leaking and was poorly maintained. Repairs were ordered. With the latest septic tank failure, we asked to speak to the owner of the rendering plant, James Brantley. Went to his office. He declined to meet with us.
We are exporting the water as we speak.
However, we found Randy Hodge. He's in charge of the wastewater system at the facility. Hodge said the septic system collapsed because of heavy rainfall.
All I've got to say is we are in compliance with the state's rules now, and that's it. I have been told by the owner to ask you guys to leave.
We will be monitoring them until we get a permanent solution. So we'll be working with them, with our staff and their staff, to develop a new wastewater system for that facility.
The state has suggested to Dean Taylor, since his well water is contaminated, he should consider hooking up to city water. Have you been drinking this?
I have.
Not your well water.
Absolutely not.
Operations at Southeastern Provision continue. The facility remains open. Wastewater is being hauled out by truck to a location approved by the state, and monitoring will continue by the state. Don Dare, WATE, 6 on your side.